Welcome, Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, you got to be kind of excited here. Things breaking right for the Yankees so far during this postseason run here in the wild card round there. It looks like Yankees will face off against the Kansas City Royals, probably unexpectedly. I don't think anyone saw that one happen. Orioles are kind of getting swept out, as well as, maybe more shockingly, Detroit will go on to the next round, taking the first two games in Houston there, and a bit of a stunner as well. So Detroit and Kansas City move on. The Royals will visit the Yankees, and the Tigers will now visit their central foe, Cleveland there. So a little bit stunning there, and I think if you're a Yankee fan, this is what you wanted. I know you always say be careful what you ask for, but again, these are probably the matchups that were more favorable for the Yankees in these upcoming rounds. So get you a little preview of the ALDS against the Royals here before we get started. That's why you want to be a podcast subscriber. Get my takes on things like that, and maybe of course after each round, maybe after each game, if something big happens, you want to get an instant reaction, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. But there's also the YouTube episode. I just dropped the latest one 2 days ago there if you want to check it as well. So go to YouTube, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Find it, subscribe there as well. So, the Orioles, I expected them to probably go on and have the Yankees have to deal with them, but it's actually breaking right for the Yankees. So the Yankees won't have to deal with them. Kansas City kind of stunned them, taking the first game 1-0. And this is in Camden Yards, and both Detroit and Kansas City did this on the road, shockingly enough there. And then, of course, the second game, Kansas City beating Baltimore 2-1 here. So not exactly a ton of offense, a lot of good pitching, which you kind of expected there, but no offense at all. And, for the Orioles, I know they're talking about them, but they got a lot of good young players. Their farm system seems stacked. Everyone wants to talk them up a little bit. And again, they are a good team. They gave the Yankees a lot of troubles this season, but really, come on. No heart. Basically got swept out there. Plus, you go back to last year, Orioles also they were swept out in the first round when they locked in the playoffs. So here's a team that's very good. 2 seasons in a row, pretty good regular season team. They're a little bit better last year. I think they got to the 100 wins or 101 wins like that. But 2 years in a row, just getting swept out in the first round like that. So everyone wants to talk about the Orioles and the good young players in the future and all these guys got in the minors. That's great. But kind of pathetic there in the postseason. So I'll just throw that salt in there for if there's any Oriole fans listening there. But whatever. But then, of course, the other series, Detroit and Houston. Now, Houston did not have a great season. They got off to a really bad start, had a lot of guys injured, but they got it together, had a good second half, won the AL West. Now, it wasn't a strong AL West. It was pretty much weak. Seattle wasn't as good as they were past couple of years. Of course, we know Oakland stinks, Anaheim stinks, and Texas not good this year. Texas also didn't qualify for the playoffs, even though they were in the World Series last year, crazy enough, as well as the Arizona Diamondbacks in National League. So you had the two teams that played each other in last year's World Series. Neither of them even qualified for the playoffs this year, so whatever, just want to put that aside. But again, Houston had a very weak division to deal with, but nevertheless, hey, look, they got this stuff together. They won the AL West, but in the first round, they got swept out there. Now, if you're the Yankees, obviously, Detroit faced them over, later in the season, took 2 out of 3 there. Detroit just quietly had themselves a really good season and just won enough games and got in there. American League West was weak this season, and you almost say that American League East kind of was weak this season because you only had really Baltimore and the Yankees in the East. Tampa did not have a good season. Blue Jays didn't have a good season, and Boston did not have a good season. So, the better teams were in the Central this season. So you have Cleveland taking the Central, and then you got a number of other teams in the playoffs, of course, Detroit and Kansas City there. So the Central is more representative this season. But nevertheless, if you're the Yankees, you don't want to see Houston. You don't want to play in Minute Maid Park. It's just been a house of horrors for the Yankees. So maybe Detroit knocks the Yankees off if the Yankees face them, in the championship series. Fine, you'll live with that. But I did not want to see Houston again. How many times do you want to face them and lose? I know people want to slay the dragon and all that stuff. In order to win, you got to slay the dragon, and Houston's been the Yankees' dragon for sure. But you know what? If the Yankees don't have to face Houston, great. I don't want to face them. I'd rather face Detroit Tigers, and if the Tigers beat the Yankees, then so be it. I'd rather lose to them than lose to Houston yet again. Maybe it's not a good Houston team as we've seen, in years past, fine. But still, it's just they got the guys. They got Altuve. They got Bregman. And they always got these guys that's coming out of the pen that just blow the Yankees away and, just shut the Yankees down. The starters always shut. It doesn't matter who you put in there. Yankees get like 1 run against their starters. So I just don't want to see that. So good riddance. If you're a Yankee fan, this is really what you wanted. Take the emotion out of it. Just be strategic. You did not want to face the Baltimore Orioles, who played the Yankees tough this season, and you do not want to face the Houston Astros if the Yankees move on later on there. So far, so good for the Yankees. So again, you should be happy with that. Now, the Royals come to the Bronx. Game 1, it's going to be Garrett Cole versus Michael Wacha. Now, I remember Walker was with the Red Sox, I don't know if it was a season or two ago, but one of the games, he absolutely shut the Yankees down. They couldn't even touch him. I think it went like 7 or 8 innings. The Yankees got one hit off. Now, again, that was a year or two ago, so different situation, but Walker has some success against the Yankees, so you can have that in the memory bank. And, of course, now you just hope this week the Yankees are going to, in the most recent YouTube episode, I kind of went through the Yankees workout schedule. They're going to work out from Tuesday through Thursday, and then Wednesday and Thursday kind of being the kind of the hardest, I guess, training days, once to put it in there. Just get prepared, probably take a little bit breather Friday, and then hopefully good to go Saturday night in the Bronx there. And, of course, the other matchup in the American League will be Cleveland hosting Detroit Tigers. Now, you might say who you want to win with that one. The Yankees kind of handled Cleveland pretty good in recent years, so, I'd rather almost see Cleveland, even though maybe they're the better team in Detroit. But, again, the Yankees have been very comfortable, let's put the word maybe comfortable, facing up against the Indians/Guardians over the recent 7 or 8 seasons. So I kind of ready to see them, and we've seen with Detroit, they've in the early 2000s, maybe like 2010 or 2011, 2012, they knocked the Yankees out in 2006, and I think it was like 2012 or 2013. I think it was maybe 2012, one of those years. Detroit also knocking the Yankees out. So Yankees haven't had much success against the Detroit Tigers in postseason. So I know it's many years, it's a different team, different roster, a whole different thing. But the same way I didn't want to see Houston, I wouldn't prefer almost not to see Detroit. I almost rather see Cleveland, because again, I think the Yankees have been very comfortable against them in recent seasons. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. And over the National League, not going to beat too much of that to death. But I guess we want to just looking at hometown Mets there, winning the first game against Milwaukee, but dropping the second one there. So it still remains to be seen how far they go. But of course, they kind of had a bit of a little magic run there to get themselves into the playoffs. That doubleheader against the Braves, again winning the first game in thrilling fashion. So, and then you jump right into the fire the next game and take that first game against the Brewers there. So, Mets kind of on a hot streak there, but unfortunately for them, they lost the second game. But we'll see how they go moving forward. So that's the episode. Got you caught up in the first round there in the American League, and if you're a Yankee fan, this is what you wanted. You wanted Baltimore gone, and you wanted Houston gone. So it doesn't guarantee you a win, and maybe those other two teams will be tougher on the Yankees. But again, if you're a Yankee fan right now, you have to be happy. Catch you next time.